All right, all right, all right. So we are here and it looks like we're let's see. Yes, we are live on YouTube and it is another week and another episode of the Bright Girls in Business podcast. And I have my guest with me, the beautiful and the glowing Miss Carla Erskin.
Thank you.
Yes, of Bossingly. And I just love the name of your company and your brand. And so we had to just throw it into the name of the title of the episode. And this is Doing It Bossingly. And so we are going to learn today what that means, what it looks like to do it bossingly, and how to really make your precious diamond shine, your business and your brand shine. And so we're going to talk about that today with Miss Carla. So welcome and thank you for.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. So glad to be here.
Now I'm trying to remember, Carla, how exactly we met. I feel like it was Shaper or LinkedIn. It was some networking app. And our paths crossed on there. This had to be 3 years ago now. At least 3, because about 2018, 2018. Mm-hmm. I'll say 2019 maybe at the latest. And I like to this moment, I can't even think of how we know each other, but I feel like I've known you for so long.
I can't remember exactly where. It might have been LinkedIn or somewhere, but we ended up meeting for coffee, remember?
Yes, I remember.
So I think it was for sure 2018 because 2019 is when stuff started,
Yeah, I think it was 2018. But since I met you, one thing has always been solid to me about you, and that has been your brand and your consistency. And that's something that is very hard to find. Sometimes you look up, and especially when you're in the networking game here in Dallas or really anywhere, you meet people and you make connections, and then you look up and they've gone on to do something else. And, it's just a number of iterations of who that person is and what they're doing and things like that. But brand has been consistent and I love it. And that's what I really want to dig into today, is how people can do it bossingly. So tell me, what does that mean to you when you say doing it bossingly? What is bossingly?
So for me, bossingly, the name kind of happened on the whim. So I had this, I was doing my interior design, that was my first business. I was doing interior design and I would go to vendor events and there would be so many women entrepreneurs there. And I was like, I told my aunt, I said, you know what? We should start a women entrepreneur line of products. Mugs, t-shirts, all that stuff. I said, because there's so many women entrepreneurs in the area. And I said, we can have your little cute sayings, blah, blah, blah. And so she said, okay. I said, but I don't want to be the face of the brand. I said, because I have Carla James Interiors and I can't, I didn't want to confuse my audience. I said, so I'll run it, but I need you to be the face of it. And so I got on GoDaddy, started looking for names, everything was gone. Boss chick, boss lady, boss this, that. And I just kept thinking about this idea of being a boss and how it had started developing this negative connotation, right? Mm-hmm. That a boss was this and a boss was that, as in a bad thing. And I said, so how can I take the word and make it a little bit more feminine, and take away that masculine energy from the word? And so I kept trying variations and I found one that was available and I was like, oh my God, I love this. I love it. It feels, more feminine, but it still is about, I'm a boss. I'm doing my business, but I also am a woman. And so I purchased it and then it just started from there. And so I held on to the name and the domain, still thinking it's going to be this product-based business. And God started urging me in this direction of coaching. I was like, I don't want to be a coach. You know, coaches had negative connotation, and I was like, I don't want to do that. You know, at the time I was a full-time educator and I was teaching. And so God just kept urging me. And he was like, you know, it's still teaching. And that's when it clicked for me. I had already been getting a lot of people asking for help with their business from seeing Carla James Interiors. And then when I was able to wrap my mind around the idea that I'm still teaching, I'm just teaching business. You know, I have an MBA. I always knew I wanted to be a business owner. And so this was the opportunity for me to share that knowledge in a different way, in a different scale. My aunt was dragging her feet. And so I was like, hey, Bossingly finna be something different. And so I told her, I said, I think I'm going to go ahead and get into this coaching realm. And since I already had this domain and I love it and everything, I'm going to go with that. And she didn't have any problem with it. So that's how Bossingly was kind of born. Like I say, it's this idea that you can be a boss and be about your business and getting things done and still be feminine and operate in the space from a woman's perspective. And so
I love that. I'm gonna tell you why I love that. It's because I literally was just talking to my neuroscience coach and my mindset coach last week about the dichotomy that happens, or the struggle that happens when you're a woman entering into business spaces, especially if you find yourself in spaces where you're the only woman and it's very male dominated, is that you're pulled in a way that it feels like you're being pulled into masculine energy. And so you're almost not showing up authentically as a woman. It's like you're showing up authentically as the boss, but you're not showing up authentically as a woman. And so people mistake who you really are. They treat you a different way. Even the way that you make decisions starts to be a little, convoluted, because women mainly, this is a generalization, this is not every woman, but mainly we enter into spaces and make decisions based upon an intuition and a feeling. Men mainly make decisions based on logic, what makes sense to them. But when you, as a woman, enter into that masculine space, you're told that the way that you make decisions is wrong as a business owner. You got to make logic out of this. And so you start second guessing and doubting yourself, and doubting what got you to that point. And so I like the fact that you said you wanted to make sure that the feminine side still showed up in your brand and in your business and really allowed women to be. And I grabbed that from your brand. When I see it, when I feel it, when I see you, I feel that feminine energy. So you're doing what you set out to do.
I'm so glad. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. But like you said, women are often, we move differently. And so we need different things. And so naturally, I don't get a lot of male clients that gravitate toward me because the brand is positioned to attract women. And I'm fine with that.
Yeah. I mean, and I was intentional. I mean, I have the word girl in my, in my brand too. And I was very intentional about trying to show up that way too, and let people know that this is a woman's space and this is how we move and we operate. And I just honor that. And I love connecting with other women like you who support other women. I see you all the time on social media. You're very genuine and very intentional about supporting women in their businesses. So what I want to know is, okay, you started off as the wanting to do the products. You ended up doing the coaching. And so what is the coaching? How are you coaching people? What is your niche in that space?
So when I started out, so Bossingly has seen several iterations. So I started out with straight business culture coaching for startups. So women who are just getting into the space, not really knowing what to do. And then what I discovered in that time was a lot of the women in that space are still kind of growing their business and working, and they were really struggling to balance the two and to and to maintain the business because of commitments to their job and to their family, children. And so I started to incorporate the success principles that I had learned from, my time in grad school and just through life. So I started with the goal setting and, developing the time management skills and all of those things. And so I was trying to kind of put those together and helping them grow their business and at the same time manage their personal leadership and personal development. And so started that's how the planner and journal came to be. And so, yes, I created those products for them to help manage that process. And so that was like the second iteration. And then I also, in that process, I started learning a lot more about productivity and time management. And I started to kind of gravitate toward that space. And I really, really dived into it earlier this year when I started doing the systems and automation. So over the course of my time as a business owner, I had tried out all the platforms, all the automation platforms, from Kajabi, Teachable, Dubsado, Honey. I had done tried all of them. ConvertKit, all of the email marketing. Just kind of getting the feel, seeing what I wanted for my business. In my undergrad, I started out as a computer science major my first couple of years of college. So tech has always been a kind of a part of my experience, and I've always enjoyed it and caught on pretty fast. And so I said, in this productivity space, that's another layer of the productivity. And so again, God started whispering to me and, leading me down this space. And I was like, okay, I'll kind of focus on productivity. But nobody was really interested. It wasn't sexy enough, They were like, they're not even into time management like that. But when I was able to tweak it and show them how, if they leverage systems and technology, that frees them up to do the things that they need to do as a CEO. That allows them to make more money. Then all of a sudden people were interested. Oh, wait, what? And so that's kind of where we are right now. And it's been really good. Things have, I've been, booked solid since we made this pivot. And yes. And so that's kind of where we are. And I talk about God a lot because I am a spiritual person. God showed me this vision of the agency, an agency where, we are having those systems and we are helping people with the operations, because that's where you got to kind of start with your process and your plan, and then developing these systems to support business owners. And so that's where I'm setting things up, and my mind is going, and I'm excited to see what God has for me.
I love it. I'm gonna tell you what really stood out to me is that you said that you were trying to get people to do one thing, the productivity thing. That was your,
right,
pitch or whatever. And it wasn't sexy enough.
Right.
People weren't getting it.
Right.
And I find that so much in this entrepreneur space, that I feel like the shiny object, whatever people are talking about right then and there, that's where people go. So if it's social media, everybody's like, "Ooh, social media, this is what I need to do." And that's all they focus on. And they don't focus on anything, any other ways to market their business. Or if somebody is talking about, Kajabi, Kajabi, but then they don't have something else going on in their business. It's whatever is in vogue at the time is right. Where people go, and they, hang their hat, wonder why other parts of their businesses are slipping.
Right.
So I like the fact that you were intuitive enough, going back to that feminine energy.
Yeah.
Right? You were intuitive enough, and feminine, but intuitive enough to know, okay, something here is just not connecting with these.
Not connecting.
Something, but it's the same thing.
Right.
It's the same thing. You just packaged it up in a way that palatable. That's good marketing. That's good marketing right there. So we have a question from one of our viewers, Miss Sarah. She's saying, "Hey, Carla."
Hey.
She wants to know, what is your favorite automation tool? And I kind of want to know that too, because I've been working so hard on, putting systems and funnels and this and that. And you just named like the whole suite. So what's your favorite? What do you love?
Well, first, before I can even get to my favorite, I got to talk about the different types. Okay. So like we mentioned, the LMS, the learning management system. Then you got, of course, you got the CRM, the customer relationship management system. You got the EMS, the email marketing system. You got the project management system. So you got all these types of systems, and they all do wonderful things, right? And so some companies have tried to combine different pieces of them, some better than others. But so when we talk about my favorite, I guess I kind of have favorites in all the categories. Like for email marketing, which is what I've been focused on a lot lately, is Keep, which was Infusionsoft at one point, is Keep now, and I'm a certified Keep partner. And so I am doing a lot to develop the funnels and campaigns that business owners need. So all they do is, they come to me and I put them in their system, and they don't have to do any of the work for us trying to figure out how all those pieces and components go. So that is probably my favorite right now. I'm doing a whole lot of learning and training, and I'm actually even bringing on people who want to be certified partners as well. Again, to grow out an agency, and so that's my number one for that. Now, when it comes to CRM, Keep has a lot of CRM functions. But if you are a coach or a consultant or creative and you're looking for a system that has like pretty proposals, if you're in that space where you want things to look real pretty, then I love Dubsado for that, because I can create all these pretty proposals and contracts and all of those things. And so it's very visually pleasing. It also has the automation part. It has small pipeline, which is project management solutions. So it has pieces, it has a scheduler. Keep has all these things, but Keep it is not as pretty. So creatives are not really into it.
Yeah. But that was one of the issues I had with Keep. And I'm glad you said that, because I liked Keep for the functions. Like when I would read the functions, I'm like, okay, yeah, I need this, and this. But then when I tried it, I was like, why is this just not coming?
It's not pretty.
Technical. I'm gonna tell you what, going back to our earlier conversation about the feminine and masculine energy, it gave me man architect energy. Like that's what I felt. Like I felt like they wanted me to be an architect, but I'm a creative mindset. And so I was like, this is too
Right. And so they have some new updates coming, and with the form builders and stuff, and I'm hoping it gives us a little bit more flexibility to add in the pretty images and things like that, and it not just be so sterile and masculine, which is also what I found about Kartra. Kartra was so masculine and clunky to me. It was like not intuitive. It was just like forcing, very masculine and energy. And so I was with them for a few months, learned that system, and then moved on to another one. So I done did a lot of them. But my favorites would probably be, like I say, Keep for its functionality. It can do some amazing things. I've been learning a lot, going to their master classes and their training. We have a conference coming up. It can do amazing things if you leverage it right and build it out. If you're not going to use all the functionality, you're wasting your time. You can go to something like, ConvertKit if you're not going to do what you need to do with it. But if you really want to set up your business for long-term growth, then it's definitely the place you want to be.
So let me ask you this, because Shara's saying so many systems, and I know what it looks like to have all these systems, and like you said, some stuff overlaps here and some stuff two things do similar or the same things, because I've been building out a launch and a funnel and all of that other stuff. And I'm like, wait a minute, let me map out my tech and write down what everything does so I know where to plug certain things in.
Right.
And I also had a client that I was working with, and funny story, she came to me and she just had like this whole, LastPass full of passwords. This lady was spending about $1,800 a month in software and systems.
Yeah.
And a lot of it was redundant. I'm like, why do you have Aweber, MailChimp, and ActiveCampaign? Like, why do you know what I'm saying? Like, why do you have all these things? So how do you help people find that? Because listen, it's not sexy. It's not always fun. It can be convoluted. And that's something that I noticed that a lot of people shy away from, because it
can be
fun.
Overwhelming. And it can be overwhelming. So the one thing you need to do is determine your business model. Are you going to be courses and memberships? Are you going to be one-to-one? Are you going to need contracts? Are you going to need a scheduler? So first is to figure out your business model and what you actually need. And then a lot of people pick the tool and try to fit their business into the tool. No, you got to know your business and find the best tool for your business. And so we have to look at all those things. I was with Kajabi maybe 4 or 5 months and realized I don't even really want to do courses. I had done build out all these things, and I was like, I really don't want to promote courses. That's not resonating with me. And so, but God, uses everything, and so now I'm able to use what I learned doing that to help other people build theirs out. So it wasn't, a waste of time. But you got to know, is courses going to be the foundation of your business? Because if not, Kajabi is an expensive tool to have if it's not going to be where you're going to be making your money. So if you're going to be doing more one-on-ones and you need contracts, I love Dubsado for that. It's a seamless process from proposal to contract to invoice, and the workflows you can create, the questionnaires you can create to gather information. If you're going to be because I work with mostly service-based businesses, so I have a travel agency, travel agent who she wants automation her travel agent. So we had to go and get a different type of tool for her. She's using a system called Sweet Dash. And it does some features and things that she loves. And so you really got to figure out your business model and then determine what tools to use. Because like you said, a lot of people have multiple tools that they don't need.
So. Because I started working with a different agency, or I guess they're an agency, to help build out my agency, and so that I could scale it. And they were giving me software, and I'm like, what is this? So I ended up spending money on Pipedrive. Have you heard of Pipedrive?
I think so. I think I have.
It's like a sales CRM type of thing. Similar to maybe Zoho. But Zoho has a lot of different stuff in it.
Zoho, man, if you don't know what you're doing with Zoho, you
mess your whole life up fooling around with Zoho if you don't know what you're doing in there.
Right. They have so many different things going on.
They do. But it's kind of like a sales pipeline. You move your sales calls through the pipeline. This opportunity is, and where are you in the phase, trying to close. I spent money on that thing, and it was just not. I'm like, what am I doing here? What is going on? But to your point, I really do. I like Dubsado for what it does. One of my coaches was telling me that I needed something that had a little bit more data to pull, numbers and stuff like that. So for that side, what do you like? Financial data or sales data and stuff like that.
If you need more reporting than Dubsado offers, then you do have to kind of go over to one of the less creative systems. We were talking about like Keep or Entreport, something with a more robust analytics and things like that. because Dubsado is for the pretty, you know. You get a little bit of analytics, but you don't get a lot. But if you really want some hardcore analytics, you know, especially when you get into talking about conversion rates and, you know, all of those different things from people landing on your pages and your sites and all of that, then yeah. ConvertKit has a few analytics, but again, it's mostly email marketing. So you're not going to get that CRM side. And what I do love about Keep is it has both the CRM and the email marketing. And they just got to get that, and it's supposed to be coming. They just got to get that design aspect a little bit better when it comes to designing those landing pages and forms and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's supposed to drop, I think, either this quarter or next quarter. So we'll see.
So let me ask you this, just to pivot a little away from the systems, because we can go on and on and on about that.
Right.
What really drove you, or I want to say drives, drives you in this space? What is so, because very few people see this and get excited about it. Like I said, it's not a sexy part of your business, but it can really make or break your business if you don't have certain things in place, certain systems and tracking and, you know, automation to take your hand out of things. A lot of times I was finding I was overly doing stuff. Like I'm always the one that send the email. I'm always the one to send the invoice. I'm always the one to type
in. And you cannot grow and scale like that.
Yeah.
So what drives me, like I said, I always had a love for tech. Way from when I remember when I was about 8 years old, and I grew up in the projects of West Dallas. And so there was this guy, and a lot of people probably know him, he's Zachary Thomas. He was over the CDC in Dallas. And so his face was on the news a lot when the pandemic started. But he, back in it had to be 82, 83, he would come to our neighborhood and do these computer classes. And often in the computer class, it would only be me and my brother. And we were working on these early computers. The kind that didn't even have a hard drive. It had a tape recorder. You would put a cassette tape into this, connected to a monitor, and that would drive the computer. So I've been around computers a long time. And so I developed this love for tech. And so Commodore 64, the old computers. Yes. And so, you know, way from the floppy drive, and like I said, tape recorders running the computer, I was all crazy. But so I've always had this love for tech. And so again, when I was building my business, I kept trying these different platforms, learning them, building them out. And so that's just something that I enjoy doing, figuring out, you know, I'm a curious person. I love to learn anyway. And so at the time it was just for myself, but, you know, like I said, I'm a firm believer in God takes you down this path for a reason. And so he was positioning me for where I am now, you know, to be able to do this for other people. And so what drives me is that, number one, women of color, especially Black women, we are this big demographic of new business owners, right? But we're mostly solopreneurs. We don't have the infrastructure in our business. And so I think the last stat I saw was we average about $24,000 a year in our businesses, where our counterparts are at $160,000 a year. And so there's a big gap, right, that needs to be filled. And if we can start putting ourselves in position to close that gap, and I see that, like I say, a lot of women are building their businesses and working full time. Well, automation is the key in closing that gap when you don't have enough time. And so if I can share that information and spread the benefits of automation, then maybe I can do my smart part in seeing that gap close. And so from coaching to the systems to everything I do with Bossingly, that's my mission and my goal. You're stuck. You back?
Back. I don't know what that was about. I'm gonna tell you what I think it's about, because I'm gonna say it. When you started talking about that,
Right.
about that gap, that was so weird. This has never happened. But when you started talking about the gap in earning potential between, Black women entrepreneurs and our counterparts, what two things rang out to me. First is that this is something that is really into it's got to be near and dear to the heart of God. And the reason I say this is because you and I have the same driver, but we're doing it in different ways. Like, you are passionate, you see these numbers, you see this thing, and you like, something got to change. I see the same thing, and I'm like, something got to change. Like, this can't be. But we have two totally different businesses. But we serve the same audience for the most part, but we do things differently. And I think that both of those things are much needed, as well as other services around this same problem. And when you started talking, I was like, and it froze. I said, we tapping into something.
Right.
We tapping into something. And some energy around this ain't happy that we tapping into. Right. We already talked about the spiritual side of things, and you and I both know that it's going to be opposition when you come, because here's the thing, and I ain't even mean to go here, but when I got kicked off, now I got to come back.
Right.
Okay. But it just really rose up in my spirit when I'm sitting here like, why is this not coming back on? It's some real life strongholds that is supposed to be broken.
Right.
In these businesses. And it's some ground that's supposed to be covered and recovered. Things that we lost over time. Our grandparents and our parents couldn't recover. And I feel like right now we're in this season to do that. And like what I do, people come to me because everybody sees social media, and I'm putting it out here right now to say, yes, I'm still going to doing social media, but I'm about to start doing something completely different. Kind of like you said, you pivoted too, because you know, when you see something, you're like, okay, let's let's navigate. Right. But what you're doing is so important, is so necessary to the bottom line of running a business and really being a CEO, not a side hustler. No shade to side hustlers. Not to, I just want to make a couple extra dollars on the side.
Right.
Or, this is my hobby and I figured out I could make a couple dollars, so whatever. No, I'm talking legacy building. I'm talking doing it bossingly. Right. And I didn't mean to go on that rant, but I really feel that energy, because it's not, what you do is not talked about often.
Right.
It's not, and a lot of people don't even know that it's something that's available to them.
Right. And so what I try and get women and entrepreneurs to understand is that in order to grow, like you said, because you don't want to just create another job for yourself. I don't want to be tied to my business in an unhealthy way. When I walked away from education and decided to resign, one of the big reasons is because my health was suffering. I was doing a lot and not taking care of me. And so what these systems allow is that it allows you to, number one, leverage the time that you have. And then you can use that time to either take care of yourself or to operate as the CEO that you're supposed to be. Because like you say, if you're sending out all the emails, who's doing the activities that you need to be doing to promote the brand and the business? If you're doing all the things in your business. And so we have to kind of create this mindset. And I never had anyone in my childhood who I knew personally as an entrepreneur who could have imparted these things on me. I've been learning trial and error, time and education, and, getting the resources and connecting with coaches and things like that. And so we have to look at business differently, because I think sometimes we're so close to our businesses and we're holding on so close, and we want to do all the things because that's, what's comfortable for us. We got to get away from that and start replacing ourselves in our business, either with people. I also have a VA agency where I connect entrepreneurs with VAs. And so we got to start delegating and we got to start automating, and so that we can be at that board meeting. We can be at the places we need to be and making moves that CEOs make. So it's not just about like what's going on in the business. You got to be able to affect the whole business environment around you, this ecosystem of business around you as a CEO. And so that's what I want to start doing more of.
I love that. I love that. And it's very important for us to figure, get out the kitchen. You remember back in the day, you go get your hair done and you go to somebody's kitchen and hang over the sink. Like, no, we're not hanging over the sink no more, ladies. Right. We are really operating in CEO energy and CEO space. And Carla is here to help all of us do that. So Carla, let me ask you this. This is just your opinion. Why do you think we, like you said, like to hang on so tight and not relinquish, not breathe? I have a hypothesis, but I want to hear what yours is.
Okay, so then you're gonna have to let me know if we're aligned. So I see like about three different things. One, we've come up in an environment and system where we've often had to operate from this position of lack, and so when we think about investing in systems and tools for our business, we don't always approach it with the right mindset. And this is an investment. This is not just spending money. This is an investment. So when you've operated from this position of lack, then that's often the mindset. Then you couple that with the idea that we, for so many generations, had to do everything on our own. We've had to be the superwoman. We've worn this cape. I don't need to pay anybody. I'll just do it myself. I don't want to pay anybody. I'll just do it myself because, we can do all things. But the reality is that we can do all things, but we're not good at all things. And so when you're not operating in your area of genius, you're losing the opportunity to really excel at what you are good at. And so when we start putting those two things together and we start investing in ourselves and operating in our area of genius, then magic can happen. And so those are the two things. Like, one of the things I had to do, and this was 2019, I said, if I expect people to invest in me at a certain level, I have to invest in me at that level. So the first thing I did was went out and invested a 4-figure investment in coaching, almost $10,000 package I signed up for, because I was like, when you have never seen it done, how are you going to operate in this space of it can happen when you've never done it? And so when it's just, it's all this manifestation and this mindset energy around investing. And so now when I invest, I get excited because I know I'm going to get a harvest. You can't expect a harvest if you have no seed in the ground.
Come on now.
It's just natural, whether you believe in it or not. No tree is coming if none is planted, and it's just not going to happen. And so that's those are the biggest struggles I see. It's like, you gotta be willing to let it go, and you gotta be willing to invest in the money and trust that what God says happens is going to happen, and that seed is going to return to you. And so you can't operate with these closed hands because you can't get anything. And so those are the two biggest things that I see. So
you hit the nail on the head. We in alignment with that.
Okay.
You're definitely right about the lack. It's that fear of spending or giving up. I got to give this up. I got this. I got this $5,000. I'm hold on to this $5,000. So I learned early on, if it's not enough for your harvest, then that's your seed.
Mm-hmm.
If all you prayed for was $5,000, then okay, maybe that was your harvest.
Right.
But I'm not just praying for $5,000 ain't taking me that far. Yeah. Okay, like I'm 7 figures. So if it ain't the 7, then that's your seed. That's what you're supposed to keep sowing in to, like you're saying, getting something out. It's a mindset shift when you get into business, because it's not, I'm giving you my money. I'm giving you my, no, I'm exchanging energy. I'm exchanging currency. I'm exchanging money so that the current keeps flowing, not only to me, but to you, to other business owners. And so that I get a return on that investment. And so that is definitely something that I see. I see a lot of tight hands in this space. And I'm like, oh, sis, you got all these big dreams. But you scared to cast your bread on the water. You know? So that's one. And then, like you said, that superwoman complex. Listen, ladies, if you take nothing else from this, superwoman never existed. She's fake. And wanting to, be that person that's, oh, I got it. Oh, I got it. Oh, they ain't doing it right. I got it. And also another thing that I see too is, and I've had to undo some things, is feeling like you are unworthy of help. All right. That translates into looking like I'm going to work hard to earn it. Right. That's a mindset. I need to work hard to earn it. People really think that I need to work hard to earn this, to be worthy of this. Who said it? Yeah. Who said? Like, that's a myth that you have to do it all. You have to work so hard. You have to. Do you think Elon Musk is working billions of dollars worth of his time away? No, he's not. He's leveraging.
Not down there on the assembly line, trying to put the tires on and trying to do all of that. He's hired the people to carry out the vision. And so you got to be willing to trust the vision with someone else so that you can be the visionary of the business. And,
Yes. Yep. If we could get that to just 10 women and they really got it, I don't mean like they heard it and they was like, okay, yeah, she said that. No, I mean like if they really grabbed hold of that and ran with it, including ourselves, because we got levels to still, grow.
Of course.
We ain't arrived, and we ain't Elon and what's his name, Bezos. We ain't sitting up there going to the
moon. But we got to be willing to open our mind to the idea that we can be.
Yes.
That's another thing. It's like sometimes, even when I started out, I was like, I only want to always be a solopreneur because that was comfortable for me. And so when God started to deal with me with that, I had to allow that discomfort to kind of settle and be okay with it and know that I don't have to just stay small. I can grow. And that's when he dropped the vision, it was like, this is what you can have. And so, like you said, now I am now positioning myself to be an agency, for Bossingly to be an agency. So I'm, I struggled in the beginning of my business with that. Should I go with Carla Erskin or should I go with Bossingly? And God just kept, just with Bossingly, because I wanted to. Now I'm in a position where I'm like, I wanted to be an agency. And so I'm glad it's not Carla Erskin and that it's Bossingly. And so he knew the plan from the beginning.
Yeah. And you just got to walk it out and follow it. I love it.
Yeah.
You're doing it. You're doing what you're telling other people to do. And that's what it's all about, is modeling. The more you model that behavior, the more you show people how to show up, the better it is for all of us. All of our tides end up rising. And so that's why I wanted you here today. Because I see you walking in that energy. I do. Like, I'm like, man, you ever just be around people and they just give you like, I don't know, this is always good juju with you.
And know that is return, because every time I open up my thing and I see you and I'm like, I got to get on it because, girl, every time I open, you be right there. I'm like, God, she is on it. She is all over this thing. And so, yeah, it pushes me further as well.
That's what we need. That's what we need. That same,
Right.
Like attract like. So thank you so much for being here today and for sharing with us what it looks like to do it bossingly.
Yeah.
Tell me before we go, who is your ideal client and how can they connect with you and do it bossingly too?
So my ideal client is women entrepreneurs who are in the service-based industry, coaches, consultants, other service-based entrepreneurs who are experiencing some success in their business, but they're overwhelmed. You know, they're generating revenue, but they're kind of at this point where they stuck because they're at capacity. And so I would say when you're at capacity, your revenue is at capacity. In order to get to that next level, then you have to release some of the things that you're doing. And the way, of course, I do that is systems and automation. So if you're at that place in your business, I'd love to talk to you. Of course, I'm at Bossingly on all the platforms. If you are not quite there yet, but you need some direction on how to position yourself, I also still offer business coaching sessions, and we can talk about how to position you to get to that level where you're generating the revenue so that you can go to the next level in your business with the systems and automations. So I hope I answered all your questions.
You did. Wonderful. Well, thank you again for being here and for sharing so much wisdom and just, we definitely were aligned on our thinking with this. I love it. I love it. So, ladies, we've come to the end of another week. Y'all know every week we are back here at 6 p.m. Central. We are talking to another woman entrepreneur about woman entrepreneurship in one shape, fashion, or form. So I want y'all to come back next week and join us. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so that you see every time that we go live and you get notifications so you can come and join us. We love the engagement. We love you, Shara. Thank you for joining us and for talking to us. I love the interaction. It just makes the show that much more fun because you can talk back and forth to people, So yes, join us next week. We will be back, same bat time.